And thanks for staying with us here on the Joy News channel. Now, artificial intelligence, as we know it, is developing rapidly across the world, and Africa cannot be left behind. That's the view and the push of the Deep Learning Indaba, a non-profit organization working across the continent to enhance skills, create African content, and also curate local solutions to accelerate the achievement of national and global development goals in a bid to ensure that Africa positions its youth to harness the transformative power of that technology. Well, joining us in studio now is Delali Agbanyega, Senior Data Science Lead for Shopify USA and also General Chair of Deep Learning Indaba, joining us in studio. And Shakir Mohammed, co-founder of Deep Learning Indaba, and of course he's a staff researcher at Google DeepMinds in London. Thank you all, gentlemen, for joining us here on the polls. Delali, the last time you came onto the show, you were very much positive about STEM. You know, the fact that science and technology has the power to transform a nation. How do we situate that in the context of artificial intelligence? Because it's a new area, you know.
Yeah, artificial intelligence really is a new area, and it's the basis of that is, again, it's a science field, and it has to do with really working with a computer or programming the computers in a way that they can do things that we think that they are intelligent. That's like the broader definition of artificial intelligence. And I think that this is the way to go right now. Thinking of ChatGPT, I think that's a popular thing that, usually people can relate to that because they have actually experienced things that AI can do. And I think that Africa is in a very good position if you think about most of the challenges that we face and the fact that AI started from the West. I think Africa is in the right position to actually harness some of those things now if we can actually build the right foundations, especially for our youth.
Yeah, I see. And Shakir, here's the point. There's already a global divide in terms of technology, the infrastructure itself, the global north, leading with all the kinds of technological advancements you can think of. Will Africa catch up if we're to go fully AI in the coming years?
It's a very common question to think about, either leapfrogging or needing to catch up. And I think there's no reason for us not to be optimistic about either catching up or developing or taking a very different path to how we go about doing things. I think AI needs to be understood. There's the question of data, there's software, they're coming together, and they're being targeted towards different kinds of problems. So I think in some way what we want is not to catch up, not to build the same kinds of things, to build things that are specific for the health challenges that we are seeing across our countries. The kind of climate change, the previous segment you had was all about deforestation, using it for those kind of problems which are very specific, very localized, very centered in the values of the people that we're living in. And so in some
and maybe my question is stemming from the generic misconception that you find with AI as a technology, the feeling that, well, it's wiping out human intervention entirely and solely bringing artificial intelligence-led solution to all of our problems. Is that the way this technology works?
I can start, not entirely. I think this is a general debate that's going on. I personally believe that AI is here to actually make our life easier. AI cannot work on its own. We have to build it so we can build it responsibly.
Oh, really? Because the feeling out there is, okay, you tell it what you want and you get the response. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, but it's not really that. It's like, humans are building just like any other technology. We build it so we can build it the way we want to solve the problem that we want it to solve. And so I believe that AI is not coming to do anything harmful if done properly. Now, if not done well, then those are questions that we need to answer or things that we need to put in place so that it's actually done the right way.
And that's why I'm grateful that, of course, you're running this deep learning in Indaba. How will that be part of the challenge you're trying to solve?
Yes, so I think the challenge that we have, again, going back to your previous question, is how do we build that kind of capacity to develop the kinds of solutions? And so the deep learning Indaba is one part of the kind of broader ecosystem that we need. And its mission is to strengthen machine learning across Africa. What that means is we need to build communities within Ghana and beyond and across our continent. We need to create new kinds of leaders, and we need to recognize those leaders. And I think that's a magical engine of communities, leaders, recognition, and they build each other. And then we'll gain the kinds of skills, build the kinds of connections, And this week we are here in Accra, and there are almost 800 people from across our continent, and they're building that kind of skill, network, and leadership that's actually needed to develop the kinds of tools.
Delali, in terms of practicality, what are some of the activities you'll be engaged in just to build capacity on the continent when it comes to AI?
Yeah, so three major things we do. One is like our Indaba.
Yeah.
So Ghana has Indaba X Ghana.
Okay.
What we are doing this week is the mother of all Indabas, right? But
so you have everybody coming.
We have everybody from different countries coming. But in Ghana specifically, we are teaching people how to program, how to build machine learning models to solve specific problems. Yeah. We are also connecting people with mentors that will guide them through their journey to make sure that what they are building, any help that they need, we can provide. We are bringing in people that can actually invest in the younger ones to build relevant technology. So we start from the grassroots. So we see ourselves as a grassroots movement, really connecting people in the communities. So in Ghana in particular, we also do quarterly events where we actually showcase things that we've built, the problem that we are solving, the solutions that is given to people. Yeah. So that's one of the things that we do.
I'm particular about the schools because if you are to start, you have to start with a younger generation so we can build the momentum. How do you intend to work with the schools, work with more stakeholders together, Delali?
Yeah, good question. And we are hosting this today at the University of Ghana, right? This conference. So usually the Indaba, by design, we work with universities. And so that's one way. So the Indaba itself encourages us to work with universities. I think that there are additional things that we can do, which is basically forming, industry, academia partnerships, maybe working with universities to refine their course structure, because you have people in research, people in industry, and then people in academia. So how can you actually bring all of this together? So it's the industry, academia partnership to ensure that the structure of the courses that the schools are teaching are practical and make the most sense.
Okay, we'll talk about the conference happening this week and some of the outcomes we're already seeing, but Shakil, many are still skeptical about even the technology itself. For those who do not believe in the future of AI, what's that one major factor to convince us, or at least if there are more, just to convince that indeed this is the future and this is what technology will become?
I actually, if there are people who are skeptical, I don't think I would want to convince them otherwise, because I think there are genuine concerns today around either employment or kind of working conditions or forms of injustice or dispossession, inequality that people are asking us to confront in certain kinds of ways. But I will say to people that we today are facing challenges that we have never faced before. The complexity of the challenges are also not single issue. Climate change is also affecting the way we are dealing with food, which is affecting how we create jobs and grow our economies. And so what we do need is then to bring every form of tools, intellectual resources, intellectual power, industry, thinking together. And AI, I think, is a part of that. And for us not to use that would be for us to hold ourselves back, to not want to fully address in all the ways that we can the kind of complexity.
We were talking about the schools earlier. In as much as students would want to embrace this technology, it's becoming like a cheat for many of the students who are using it to also write exams and pass. These may be some of the genuine challenges you're pointing to, I believe.
The questions of how education is changing is important, but at the same time, that example of the chatbot is so powerful, but think about all the other things that are going on. We face many kinds of what I call neglected diseases across our African countries. We can use AI to deal with a new age of dealing with the proteins and finding drugs and new drug discovery. We are facing droughts or issues of dealing with farming. We use AI both to help find diseases, diagnose them, give solutions, predict the forecast and future weather. And so I think there are many things that people don't see. So maybe part of our job, part of the work of the Indaba this week is to elevate those other cases that actually show value, benefit to our communities.
Delali, you've been engaging all stakeholders together with Shakir. What are some of the outcomes, initial concerns and, the positives that you'd want to highlight?
Yeah, the biggest concern is people are thinking, okay, what happens after the event? Right? How can we keep this? How can we keep this moving? And we are already putting measures in place. So in about Ghana, for example, we have reps in each region of the country, and our goal is to have local meetups. and that way people can connect at where they are. And then we have mentorship. So, we are securing funds for people to really go and learn from others. The other thing that is a challenge to people is, how can we get the government involved? Because, we are kind of a non-for-profit organization, and we know in Africa that for anything to really fly,
we
need the government support.
Also to come.
So that's one of the things that we are considering. So, I'm sure several leaders are listening to us. So we need that support from the government. That way we can carry, our mission.
Okay, so let's open up the conversation about policy. If we're to consider policy measures, practically, in which areas would you want to see that, play?
And just before we came here, we left a session which was actually talking about Ghana's AI strategy and the policy that will come forward. And policy is taking many different forms these days. So part of your policy is about how we invest in universities and to create that kind of research, development, and innovation infrastructure that's needed. Another part is around how will we check that the things we say should be working actually work. So that's the work of technical standards, and many countries need to work on standards. And I think the other part, which is the challenge, is that single countries, as we were talking about the divide between global north and global south, we need to cooperate more with our partner countries, with our neighbors, because it is through cooperation that we will actually pull the resources we need together, pull the computing power, pull the money, pull the people together. And so I think another major part will be around cooperation. And then, of course, there are all the issues of privacy, data security, onshoring, data governance. But I think it's a good space going forward.
Delali, anything of concern to you in terms of policy?
Yes, I know. At the same time, I think that Ghana has started a lot of good work here. Like Shakir was saying, we know that there are work going on. We have been invited even to those discussions. So representatives of Indaba X were participants in the session that they discussed policies. What should we put in place? How can we make sure that AI is doing what it's supposed to do? It's not biased.
I'm not even sure we have a policy. The last time, I guess there was a debate on the floor of Parliament about this, but no concrete policy as of now.
No,
at least I'm not aware.
It's a draft policy.
Okay,
now.
right.
So I'm hoping that before the end of the year, based on what I was told, with some of the participants, I believe that before the end of the year, something will be presented, for review and approval. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that will also give people the confidence that, this can be done in the right way, and we'll do only the good part, and we will minimize any risk with it.
Yeah. Even if we're to develop that will reinforce the conversation about peer review, because I'm not sure Ghana entirely has the capacity to know the scope of the technology and what kind of policies to be, formulating to address the challenges that may come with the AI. Shakir, the dangers there, about, collaborations, intergovernmental collaborations and all that. How crucial will that be to the future of policy making?
I think it will be vital because the internet, which is the basis of all of this, is a connected source. Data doesn't know borders the way people are restricted by borders. So I think it will continue to be vital that we do cooperate and to agree. If we want to, we do have values as countries which are different, which need to support specific needs, but so we also then need to agree. So I think that will be a vital part, and we can't succeed without it.
Any message to parents, Delali? They are all watching you. These are tech buffs. Maybe they will describe you as such. But why should people why do we need to encourage more and more people, especially the youthful population, to take advantage of AI?
Yes, the last thing I would say is that AI has come to stay. Okay. We may have debate about it, but there are several challenges we have in Africa that we believe that good AI can help us solve. So my message to the parents that are watching is encourage your children who actually like science to pursue it, to take courses in these areas, build foundations in mathematics, computer programming, and computer engineering, and be curious. Let them be curious. Let them try things, and with that, they should also get mentors around, which we can also support. And with that, I believe that we can actually together build something great.
Indeed. And of course, it's just the beginning of a long week. I'm sure by Friday you'll be wrapping up the event, correct?
Saturday.
Okay. So this weekend. And so we'll be there to support you. But thank you. Shakir, you have any final words to share with us?
I'll just say it's an exciting time, but each of us, we should not think that AI is just like a train that's moving on its own. We can make choices, and now is the time for us to make those choices.
The future is AI. Thanks to Delali and Shakir for joining us here on the show.